Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of size11.com. Okay, here, look, I want to address some of the things that I'm seeing that could be beneficial. Actually, it would be beneficial. Okay, the Big 12 has put together a proposal for its members to look at and to come to an agreement to vote on in regards to some joint ventures, some partnerships, some, just like Brett said, the Big 12 is open for business. Now, let's talk about how those proposals could and would benefit the Big 12. Okay. Now, when you look at the private investor side of things, okay, let's address that. For starters, we're going to cut right to the chase. Saying yes to private equity, private investing in the Big 12 for $1 billion is good, period. It's a good thing because that is resources that the Big 12 can use. Now, when you look at that deal, we want to have terms to it to where it would end, okay? Almost like how the TV deal would be, okay? We know the TV deal renews at the end of 7 years, right? Or 6 years, whatever the agreement is, whatever is proposed and related and agreed upon with the conference. The private equity should be the same thing. It should have an ending point. If the private equity firm have not recuperated its funds within a certain amount of time, then that's just what it is. It's taking a risk on both sides in the sense of, like, let's say, okay, we'll give you $1 billion for 20% return for the next 10 years. That makes sense. And they're banking on getting their, revenue back plus 20%. So let's say they invest $1 billion and then they may get 1.5 back. That makes sense, right? Over the course of 10 years or whatever the case may be. That's how you want to do that, to where they also would be able to renew if for a greater amount the next cycle. You want to make it to where it can renew, it could be revisited, and you can continue to do in business. Now, that would be a good thing because you're only giving up 20% for a duration of time. It's not like it's forever. So with that being said, that would be a good way to add extra revenue and resources for your conference, almost like adding an additional TV partner to that effect. Okay, so private equity, if it's structured correctly, would benefit both parties. Okay, it will benefit the Big 12 because it's like no different almost than like a media deal, but you're just doing it with a private equity giving up 20%. So that would be good. Now let's talk about the naming rights. Okay, I'm not a big fan of the naming rights for a number of reasons. For one, that in itself alone does not do much for the conference. It really doesn't. It adds a little bit more per school, but how many years, right? For the next 6 years, then that would be fine. But look, I don't think the Big 12 should mess with the brand because that's what everyone identifies the Big 12 as. I believe that the pros and cons to it is, okay, it gives you a short amount of revenue or money for a certain period of time, and then you get the name back, it's renewed or whatever. Now, that would be good if whatever company invests just says that you can put their brand next to yours. I don't think it should be to where, okay, you're giving up the Big 12 for another name. No, that shouldn't be a part of the deal. But to add it with next to it would be fine. That way, they're always getting the advertising and the marketing that they need. Anytime you see the Big 12, you're going to see this particular company. But far as seeing the company as a whole, no, because everyone knows the Big 12. I just think it should be a logo deal to where they're able to put it above or below the Big 12 logo to be partnered. And then that would be good. And it would be for a certain amount of time. Now that would be fine. But to altogether just remove the Big 12 and then just add their brand to it, that wouldn't be good, because a lot of people know the Big 12 as it is. But the private equity, private investment would be perfect, I believe, because it adds revenue. If his deal is structured right, it will be good. That just need to be honed in. And another plus to this is that if Brett Yormark have already did a deal or is related or familiar with the company CVC, then it's a no-brainer. He knows the in and out, and he have confidence in dealing with the company that he already knows and trusts. So that's a for sure thing. Now I could see if it was some other outside company he knows nothing about, no one knows anything about, then that would be taking a risk. But if he has already a connection or knowledge with the firm he's doing business with, that's a no-brainer. So I advise that the Big 12 should go ahead and do a deal with CVC, and it should be like 10 years long, and then it could be renewed. That would be a perfect structure to add revenue to the Big 12, period. And it's already kind of like a 50-50. It's already like kind of like 50-50 done already, because he knows of the organization he's dealing with. So that would be perfect for the Big 12. And I would say yay or yes to the CVC private equity or private investment firm to do a deal with the Big 12 for about 10 years, 20%, and then have it renewed. And far as with the naming rights, it should be to where the name or the logo or the company who's buying space above or below the Big 12, not to where they have the full say to the conference, because it strips the identity of the Big 12. And that part I don't think is worth it. It's not worth giving up the identity of the Big 12 for $50 million or money here and there. But above or below it, right next to it every time, that makes sense. Okay, so this is my take on what's going on and how it's a good idea. It's a good method for the Big 12 to close the gap, to add more resources to the conference. And this is just one aspect. There's so many others, like decoupling basketball with football, also doing branding on uniforms, on the field, so on and so forth. So Brett Yormark is doing a good job with his position and how he's leading the conference into doing what needs to be done. And yes, this is he's above, or should I say ahead of the curve, and he's doing things that hasn't been done, which is adding new ideas, innovation to college football. So he's an asset to college football as a whole and a model. So yes, this is a good deal, and the Big 12 should go forward with doing this because it only helps them. Once again, thank y'all for watching, tuning in. Go to www.size-11.com and go get your merch. Have a great day.